The Edmonton Oilers are in shambles right now. They just placed one of their goaltenders, Jack Campbell, on waivers. We'll break all this down for you coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into that, we just want to say that 77.5% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you're looking for a place to daily NHL content, look no further. Go down below, smash that subscribe button, become a part of the community here, because me and Mark will be here all season long, keeping you up to date on what's happening around the league. But with that said, let's get right into the main topic of the video here, and that is Jack Campbell gets sent down. And this came to a shock to a lot of NHL fans today. As we take a look from Elliot Friedman, he says Edmonton will be putting Jack Campbell on waivers today, which is big news. And as we take a look at his stats here, Campbell's numbers this season are abysmal, with an .873 save percentage, a .450 goals against average, a 1-4 record through 5 starts. Among the NHL goaltenders who played over 250 minutes this season, Campbell's save percentage is 5th worst, while his GAA ranks 43rd. And Mark, obviously, Soupy is one of those guys you got to watch in Toronto. He played really well in Toronto, in my opinion. It just sucks to see him go through this spurt in Edmonton and see him get sent down to the minors.
Yeah, that's the big thing. When he was in Toronto, he was almost outstanding. He was playing at almost an elite level. We've seen him 2 years in a row just play incredible. I think it was a 920 something save percentage, and then a 915 with nearly 30 wins. And he was an all-star goalie at one point in his tenure with Toronto. But the big thing while watching him here was the confidence, and I think that's the biggest issue with him right now. We've seen him kind of battle this confidence throughout the years. It's a big thing with goalies when they're not playing well. It obviously is hard on them. It's same to go for players and just everyone in the everyday life. So the big thing with Campbell is him being placed on waivers and sent to the AHL. This might be the situation where they're looking and being like, hey, we'll get you a few starts in the AHL, try to get your groove back. But so far this season and just the end of last year, it's kind of hasn't looked good, especially being signed to that 5x5 contract. He's in year 2 of that, and there's still 3 more years of being paid $5 million per year. It kind of cap holds the Oilers, and they're a team that are contending. They're a team that want to win the Stanley Cup. They have the best player in the league in Connor McDavid and a sidekick like Draisaitl, who's still a top 10 player. So it leaves a weird situation for Ken Holland and the Oilers to kind of figure out what to do with Campbell at this point and how to get this team rejuvenated.
Yeah, it really sucks because obviously Jack Campbell has been one of my favorite hockey personalities. His interviews after games are just phenomenal. He's just such a great guy. It just sucks to see this happen to him. I think it is justified though. He is having a rough start, like you said, and like the big thing with these goalies is once their confidence is shaken, it's hard to get it back. And I really do think that if he does clear waivers and gets down to AHL, gets a few wins under his belt, his confidence will be right back up. He's going to be trying and fighting to get back into the NHL. So I really hope that this is good for him. I really hope that he learns from this experience, so when he comes back up, he can just play like he did in Toronto. It just sucks, to be honest, because nobody really expected Edmonton to have this rough start like they did, and I mean, what they're 2-8-1, I believe, to start the year. It just sucks to see this for Edmonton right now. Like you said, they had the best player in Connor McDavid in the league. Nobody expected them to be at the bottom of the Pacific or close to the bottom of the Pacific to start this year, and it comes back on the goaltending a lot in the media, but it has to come back on the defense. It has to come back on the scoring ability as well. It just really sucks to see this happen to the Edmonton Oilers, a Canadian team that we're rooting for to kind of make that push into the playoffs to bring a cup back home to Canada. But it just really sucks, Mark. I just want to ask you a question here. Do you really think that Jack Campbell is going to clear waivers and get to the AHL, or do you think he's going to get picked up by another team?
I'm almost certain. I'd say 99.9% chance he does clear waivers. This is a guy that, like I said, he's in year 2 of this contract. So this year plus 3 more years after, he will be making 5 million. And it's kind of hard for a team to justify looking at this guy and say, hey, let's claim him. Let's hope he gets back to what he wants to be. Because the problem with this is if you get stuck with Jack Campbell for these extended period of time at 5 million, it just puts a cap hold on whatever team does claim him. Like I said before, we've seen Mrazek get traded from Toronto to Chicago. That cost a first round pick. I believe Toronto got a early second or a late second, which turned out to be Fraser Minton, so that trade was fine for the Leafs. But that was a 1 year deal left, 1 year left on Mrazek's deal. So if he does clear waivers, I think the most the team does get back from this is 1.15. That's just justified if they don't have another guy sent down. So the big thing with this now is, are the Oilers willing to pay this king's ransom to get the contract off the books, or is this something they're just going to have to hope that Campbell does get back into his groove, get back to how he played in Toronto, and just be the goalie they need him to be?
Yeah, and I wish everything but the best for Jack Campbell. He's, like I said, one of my favorite hockey personalities in the league. I really hope that he gets his mojo back and we get to see him back up later of the year with a lot of confidence and just winning some games for Edmonton. But we're going to get into our next topic here, and that is who will replace him. And as we take a look here, it says with Skinner also struggling, the Oilers GM needs to find a goalie who can let this team off their path to missing the playoffs. Sending Campbell down will save them $1.15 million on its salary cap. Holland will use much of that space if he calls up farmhand goalie Calvin Pickard with the team's next game set for the San Jose Sharks Thursday night. And as we take a look here at Calvin Pickard's stats, he's been a guy who's been up and down from the NHL to the AHL most of his career. So far this year with the Bakersfield Condors, he's 2-2 with a 9.39. So, I mean, this guy's playing some good hockey down there in the AHL right now. A guy who we could see maybe take a big leap up to the NHL, kind of come in, sort the Edmonton Oilers out, and get them back on track.
Yeah, the big thing is it's not a harm to try this. I mean, Picard's the type of guy we've seen play in the NHL before. He's never really had that starting role, but he's always been just a consistent backup. So if this guy can come in, maybe steal 1, 2, 3 games in a row, get the team's confidence up, that is massive. I mean, the worst case is you bring this guy up, he plays just a tiny bit better than Campbell, which is pretty bad to start with. But if this guy can come up, play average hockey, be a goalie that can still bail them out at times, it's a win for the Oilers. Like I said, with Campbell being sent down, he might get his mojo going back in the AHL, string together a couple wins, come up with the confidence, and secure the starting spot again. It's just one of these things where the Oilers need to try anything they can to get this back. Like I said, the 2-8 record is just almost not okay for the Oilers with how they're supposed to be, how they're looking, and overall something has to change, and they're just hoping they have to do this instead of a major change.
And the big thing that I'm noticing here by watching a couple of these Edmonton games is they can't get a big save. They need a big save to kind of sway the momentum in their side. It just seems like the ice is tilted in the other team's direction in every single game. They need someone to come in, just make a big save, and just turn the whole momentum of the game towards the Oilers' favor. And hopefully this is what we see with Calvin Pickard. I mean, a 9.39 it's in the AHL, but it's still a great save percentage. We've seen lots of great AHL goalies come up and be good in the NHL. I know he's 31 years of age, but I mean, it's not going to hurt them to give him a shot at this point because both of their goaltenders were struggling, and they just need someone who can go in there, make a big save, and just sway the momentum back to the side of the Oilers so they can get going and win a couple games because they really need to go on a streak right now. I think the next 7 games is really important for Edmonton. I think they need to get back on track. They need to come out of that with a positive record, hopefully with 5 wins, because that would really, push them back up in the table and push them up into the playoff picture. And I really do hope this Edmonton team gets going. But we're going to get into our next topic here, and that is a buyout in order for Jack Campbell? And as we take a look here from Puckpedia, they say, due to popular demand, a Jack Campbell buyout in the offseason carries a 6-year cap hit and cost/savings of. So year 1, it'd be a $1.1 million cap hit. They save 3.9. Year 2 would be a $2.3 million cap hit with $2.7 million in savings. Year 3 would be $2.6 million of cap hit and $2.4 million in savings. In year 4 to 6, it'd be a $1.5 million cap hit and cost. And Mark, it's just, I feel like this might be in order here. I feel like, I mean, if it all depends on how he does. If he clears waivers, goes down in the AHL, then comes back and starts playing like he used to be, he could stay in Edmonton for the rest of his contract. But if he comes back up and starts to struggle again, we might see them buy his contract out this next offseason.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. Obviously, with this team, they're going to be competing. This is a team that their goal is to win the Stanley Cup. You've seen McDavid say he wants to be on a winning team. You've seen Draisaitl and this whole Oilers team, their expectations are to make it to the Stanley Cup and win it. So the big thing here is when you do buy him out, yes, you do save cap, but the 6 years of roughly just about $2 million per year can kind of strap a team. We've seen like the Leafs, for example, where the cap was close. They couldn't really make the moves they wanted. They couldn't acquire players to fill out other rosters. So the big thing with this is you might look at a situation where they'll trade him, maybe retain some salary. I keep going back to the Sharks. Just say they retained $1 million in salary, sent him San Jose. San Jose sends him down to the AHL. That'd be roughly $2.15 million off Campbell's contract to play for the Barracudas for the Sharks. So they'd only be paying about $3 million against the cap. It's a rebuilding team. They could probably get the Kings ransom and picks, prospects. The Oilers don't have a lot to offer in this department, but it's almost better to do this and just eat the $1 to $2 million in cap than to spend the $6 million. Plus, it'd be kind of funny if Campbell went to the Sharks. The Oilers play them Thursday, and the Sharks end up getting their first win with Campbell in net against the Oilers, a 1-0 shutout. I think that'd be poetic justice.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. I think that's a really good take. I really do think that they need to look to move this guy if he keeps on struggling. But I think if he goes down there and has a couple good starts, gets his mojo back, you call him back up, see how he can do, and if he's not playing up to par that GM Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers want, I think you got to try to move on from this guy. You got to try to get as much as you can rather than having this buyout, because like you said, having this cap hit every year is just going to strap a team like the Edmonton Oilers, who are looking for a cup with McDavid and Draisaitl on the team. We've seen this in New York. They were paying Di Pietro for years and years, and it really strapped them, and they could never have that player to make that final push towards the cup. So I really hope that Jack Campbell gets his mojo back, and we don't have to discuss this any further, because this guy's a great goaltender. He just needs to get his confidence back up and get his mojo back and just get back in the NHL, become a starting goalie again, and see where it goes from there. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy Daniel. He says, great video as always, boys. Let's do a live this week. We were planning on doing a live this week, Daniel, but unfortunately, due to both of our schedules, we can't make it work this week. So we're hoping for next week we'll get a nice little 2-week recap in, discuss all the news, discuss everything from you guys. We love doing these live streams, interacting with you guys in real time. It's just a pleasure for us. We get to talk to you guys, hear your stories. You have to hear our stories. It's just great. We love doing it. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, and we're really close. We're almost at 1,700 right now, so I really appreciate it if you guys went down and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, if you enjoyed the NHL, make sure to check this video that's popping up on your screen right now. But I've been KC alongside my co-host Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.